Hello, welcome back to another episode of Discombobulated. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you follow us on Patreon at Discombobulated. Make sure you check out the website. We got a bunch of cool t-shirts, hoodies, hats, beanies, and card decal stickers, but we're sold out of those because they're huge and hard to print. So how are you doing? We just finished January, and I don't think I'm the only one who said it. Didn't that month fly by? Wasn't that month like easy peasy? Lemon squeezed the shit out of me. Kick my ass and call me Bob. Please be over soon. I feel like that's always how it is, though, isn't it? You get excited for the new year. And just like anything in your life, you get excited about it. And then it's here. And then you're like, no, not like that. No, not like that. I wanted something different. 2025 is basically like when you order fast food and then as soon as you start eating it, you're like, what was I doing? They weren't as good, but I had tacos at home. Yeah, sure, I would have had to heat up chili and put it in a tortilla. But that's as good as Taco Bell. What do you crave? Happiness? Try again. What do you crave? Sustainability? Get out of town. What do you crave? Head above water? That's for the birds. Do you know? You ever see a bunch of birds flying together and you're like, I don't even have friends like that. Dude, if people could fly, it would be in a side-by-side straight line. We would never be like, we'll let that person lead. Everyone would just be like, no, we're going this way. You're like, well, we always fly south for the winter. You're like, well, I don't want to do that. I got a better idea. Okay, what's your idea? Follow me. And then you and your group of bird friends are in the freezing cold and you're like, my bad. I don't know why you guys listen to me. That's bird for my bad. But God, it'd be so cool to be a bird. Just flying and looking at everyone else being like, why don't you do this? Just being up in the sky doing that big flap during a big gust of wind. Doesn't seem to fuck their day up ever. You know, they're never trying to light a cigarette. They're never trying to, they're really never trying to do anything, you know, except for, you know, eat. And people are like, birds eat worms. I think they eat our trash. That's what I've seen birds eat mostly. Like if you asked me for a test, you're like, what do birds eat? And I'm like, anything that my dad didn't want. Just birds just making their homes out of old Starburst wrappers. We're not far from doing that, just so you know. We're not far from being at the point where you're like, I live in my old Tupperware. Like, take care of that Tupperware because that's where you're sleeping soon. Sorry you tried so hard. Go ahead and nap in the tup. Take a tup nap. And if you're like, well, I don't want to do that, well, then keep kicking ass. And jot down those names. I wouldn't let you guys know. I didn't let you guys know about this. I did my audition for Netflix and they chose me. They did showcases all over town, and I know this doesn't even seem possible. They picked all of us. Thank you, Netflix. Netflix picked every single one of us. Every single one of us who went up, they were like hilarious. Signed. So that was cool. So you'll see me and everyone else on Netflix very, very soon. It'll be called What's Going on Netflix. So that was fun. It was a fun showcase. I had to hang out with, there was like bookers at all of the rooms. They had them all over the city. And I got to talk to the guy afterwards, and I made him cover his mouth. He was laughing so hard. We were hanging out with some comics and someone said something stupid and I stupided it up harder and he loved it. Followed me on Instagram. So like I said, you'll be seeing me soon. You'll be seeing me. I'll have one special that comes out and it'll be on Netflix. It'll be like, Bobby Jaycox. Is he just full of hot air? It's just farts. I'm like, do you guys ever... And then you try to, like, what won't he do with his comedy? So, yeah, check that out. And then I'll do that. And they've said this is kind of how it's going to go for all of us. We'll do like one Netflix special, and then we'll all star in our own buddy cop series. They're going to pair us up with a comic that they see us pairing well with, and then we make a buddy cop movie. Mine is going to be called... Fast Food Cop. It's kind of a twist on my first special, Fast Food Fireworks, but it's called Fast Food Cop, and it's a cop who eats fast food. So it could be about anybody, any cop. So that'll be fun. This is gonna be so fun. Just being like, we got a 1018. You're like, what's going on? And just so that'll be cool. And then you do that, and then we're gonna get like some dramatic roles. These are all just planned out. That's what they told you. I don't even know. I didn't sign an NDA, so I think I can tell you this. And then I'm also doing a movie after that where I play like a very tortured artist. I'm an artist who gets kidnapped and then they torture me. And so I'm like stuck, and I'm like, they'll waterboard me, and whenever I stop, I'm like, I just prove like anybody who's like, I was born to be a comic. Like they waterboard me, and as soon as they're done, I'm just like, airplane food. They're like, waterboard him again. I'm like, so that'll be cool. And then, yeah, I can tell you some lines from that movie. Your ass is grass, but first I gotta go to mass. That's one of the lines. And then, room for two, and then I shoot everybody in the room. And then there's what's that other line? Hey, what stinks in here? And then I fart for most of the third act. Most of the third act will be me being like, and you're like, Bobby, you can't. There's no way that your whole career will just be farts. Good thing you're not my agent. Good thing you're not my manager. Good thing you're not a friend of mine who tells me that I should talk less about farts. Maybe you should have a little bit more fiber in your act, so you can shit out all those bad ideas and make them into a special. Isn't that cool that that's my job, is an idea I have that most people, while you're just like, yeah, that's stupid, I write it down and I print money with it. It's the denomination we're allowed to print is fucking low, but we can print it. Send it to print. That's what I always say. And then a club will try to pay me in a check. And I go, I only take cash. And they go, okay, well then I guess you won't be paid. And I go, I guess I'll take that check then. I guess hand me that check. Bobby Jaycox, it's Robert if we're talking about checks. Because I know Robert is long for Bobby, even though it's the same amount of letters. It makes no sense. Hey, your name's Bobby. Do you ever go by Robert? Yeah, if I'm in fucking trouble in 6th grade. Yeah, if I'm getting an ISS That's an in-school suspension. That's where you do all your homework and schoolwork next to the assistant principal. And then you come back and people are like, what was it like? And I'm just like, it's not good. While I could hear all you guys going to recess, I wasn't allowed to go. I just had to sit in school suspension, ISS. You get on the bus and you come to school, but you don't get to have any fun like the rest of the kids. You don't get to learn about social studies. You don't get to learn about another class you have in that age bracket. Because you got ISS. And you're in school. But careful, I'll tell you this. If I'm in trouble in class and you were going to set me next to the teacher, or you want to sit me next to the assistant principal, that's fine. But I tell you what, we're about to become best friends. I'd be that guy. I feel like how I was in ISS is how I'd be. Like I'd be like in prison. I'd be like that. What's that movie with Sylvester Stallone? Locked Up. Okay, Google, what's the prison movie with Sylvester Stallone?
Sure. To help you with that, I need your permission to allow assistant personal results on this device. You can change this in assistant settings.
I heard Locked Up. Dude, I don't know what the movie's called, but yeah, basically he gets to like he's at the jail and he gets like go home sometimes, and then he also gets to like build a car. That's how I would be. They'd be like, I'd be like the Andy Dufresne. They're like, can you help me build this for my wife? That's how I was in ISS. They're like, I like this guy. I'm like, I'm sure you do. I'm fucking positive you do. I'm sure we get along. And then they take me back to my teacher and they're like, I know that they were like, I don't know why you sent him here, but I tell you what, you better never send him here again. Because if you do, I'm going to raise him as my own. That almost happened so many times. People would meet me and be like, can you be my child? I'm like, no. I'm already mistreated by the people that I love so much. So I don't want to do that anymore. What else is new? I've been feeling like shit. Been trying so hard, and then you ever try so hard, and at the end of the day, you're like, that didn't go good. And there's people that I think know me that would just maybe be like, no way. I'm like, yeah, Yahweh. And people reaching out, asking me for stuff, and I'm just like, I don't have time, Like, I feel like everyone else is like, I don't have time, and I always made time, and guess what? You can't do it anymore. And I'm not saying that in like a, you watch out. I'm saying that in like, I gotta watch out for myself, because I can't keep being this sad. I've been fucking so sad, dude. And then you try to pull yourself out, and then something else will happen. It's like, there's always life coming at you. So, it's okay. I'm okay with it. Do a lot of breathing exercises. I call places that I owe money to, and I'm like, hey, this is going on. And they're like, yeah, it sounds like that's fucked up. And I'm like, well, can we figure that out? They're like, we could talk for 30 minutes and you can just be like, what the fucking hell is going on? Yeah, I know one of our employees told you didn't owe us any more money. Guess what? That employee was a scammer. They scammed us and got a job, and then they scammed you and lied and said you didn't owe money for your car, and you owed money for your car. And I know you got that new job that we pay on an app, but guess what? We're not letting you cash it out because you might not be who you think we are. You're like, what? And they're like, I meant we don't know who you are. And even though we're making hand over fist on other people, we can't condone you getting paid. So, yeah, that's how that is. But I don't even know what to say about that. I feel sad. And then I used to call and I would talk to other people, but I don't do that anymore. What I do is, what I do is I write down how I'm feeling now. I sit with my thoughts and I'll be like, why am I feeling like this? How can I change it? And then I think that's where the real sadness comes in, is that you like try and then you get knocked back. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never going to keep me down, but you're doing pretty good. You might win this round. I might not fucking stand back up. Pissing the night away. Miss my toilet again. You don't hear no piss. You don't see no piss. It hits the side of the toilet. It hits outside the toilet. It hits all around the toilet and the bad sides. You got to clean up and then you go to sleep and you got piss on your floor. Tiny penis. No. I get knocked down, but I get up again. Does it ever fucking stop? Can we all just hold hands around the earth? No, we can't, because you'd be like, I don't want to hold your hand. I don't like your hand. Get that hand out of here. So, yeah, but I think I'm always pretty good about pulling myself out of it. So don't you worry about old Bob, I'm sure there's a book that I could read that'll be like, oh, that's why I'm feeling like that. And it's just 2 weeks later being like, Urgh. So I saw something that trying to wait till you're not sad to be happy is what's keeping you from being happy. So I tried a little bit of that today. Did a little bit of breathing exercises, cleaned up my room, emailed places that'll never contact me back. So that's where we're at. But luckily, I'm me, and I'm going to make it right through. I will say the hardest part about it is people are like, always like, let me know when you're feeling bad. And then you do, and they're like, now's not a good time. I'm like, okay. So, but I'm sure I've been like that. I'm sure I might have neglected someone. So it's not, there's no personal vendettas or anything that I feel or have. There's some people I don't like. That's a hard thing to come to terms with when you're like, I don't like you. And it's not I don't like you, it's I don't like you for me, because there's people that I don't really talk to, but if someone's like, oh, I saw them the other day, I'm not like, and did you tell them they should die? I'm just like, yeah, I'm sure you get along, because that's how life is. Some people don't like olives, and me neither, because it's like olives used to lie to me. So, yeah, I don't really like those. I'm trying to think. I don't even like... Yeah, I don't think I sit in sadness too long, because I think it turns to depression. I don't no, but I think I do stuff to pull myself out. Like I went for a long walk the other day, and that kind of helped. But then it's like, you always come back home, and it's like there's all your problems just waiting for you. And then you even wrote a list down to try to get over those problems, and then you call places, and they're like, "We're sorry, we don't even have a record of you being alive." And I'm okay, I see you. But what, Bob? But what? Say something else, Bob. Say something else that's half true. I have been cooking. I'm at that level of like poor where you're like, I can't even make an accident at the grocery store. And last night, that's what I did. I made this really good chicken, dude. It's chicken breast. The only thing I forgot to do is flatten the chicken before I did it, but I was on the phone with my friend. I was talking to him. We haven't gotten to catch up in a minute. And I was just hearing how he was doing, hearing about his, the new person he's seeing. And we were just having a lot of fun talking. And I made these chicken. You Greek yogurt, olive oil, salt, pepper, cumin, taco seasoning. And I mix that all up, and then you cover the chicken in it, and then you take a bunch of your cheap-ass crackers and you fucking beat those guys up, and then you cover them, and then you cook them. And if you're like me, you eat one, and then you're so tired from the day you waited too long to eat because of your ADHD, and then you fell asleep, and then you woke up, and you're like, oh no, can chicken breast sit out for all night? No is the answer. No is the answer. Your chicken cannot sit out. It can't do that. And why is chicken so like that? chicken and avocado, the fucking, the ones that are just like, you better be careful with me. Chickens like that, like a small dog. You're just like, you better not leave them out for too long. So that's why I woke up and I I went in my kitchen and I just saw these 2 chickens that I'd even like wrapped back up, and I was like, let them cool and put them in the fridge. You don't want to ruin them right away. Don't put them hot in the fridge. I've heard that. Yeah. Well, they're not hot anymore. They're sitting out all night. The chicken man was at it again. The fucking chicken man. But I got added to a show. I'm going to go to a show in Cedar Park tonight. I have so many new jokes I've been wanting to do, but I've been so busy working. I haven't gotten to try any of those. So hopefully tonight I can try to like mix something in there. It's only like a small time I'm on stage. So we'll figure it out when we get there. But what else is new? All my pants are splitting and I can't afford new ones. Sign up for the Patreon. Make sure you like, subscribe. The episodes will only get better when I'm happy. So that's why you should send me money. Because then once I'm happier, I can make this. Because it's hard to make a podcast when you got to go do a job. And that is how it is as a comic. And I know you're like, whoa, you're so lucky to get comic. I'm like, yeah, but it is a job. I don't think people realize like how much goes into it on top of working the regular jobs that everyone else has, and usually a little bit more. Like I've worked while I was doing construction, I would be like trying to drive for Lyft or Uber until I, couldn't. And then you're like, all right, well, I can't do that because I don't have a fucking car anymore. So then you get on a bike and you ride around and do plasma, donate your plasma. And then you always think at some point, like I remember I dropped a lady off whenever I was like driving for Uber last in St. Louis. I was like, you're like my last ride ever. And she's like, you go kill him. And I know she probably looked at my special. She's like, that guy's not going anywhere. So it's just one of those things, but hey, I do think I pull something out of anything, whether it's happiness or when I'm sad, I'll find my way out, but I just thought I'd be honest about it. Cause there's times I feel like whenever I'm not honest about it, that's when I become kind of manic, not in a bad way. I'm just like, I'll try to prove that I'm not sad. And then that's whenever you might grab a drink or do something like that. And I've been pretty over drinking. That's why I'm like, I know I keep talking about it every week. I want to quit smoking the vape that I got right here. Gross. And, but the first thing I've just been not doing, I haven't really drank at all this month because it's like, it's expensive. You feel like shit the next day, so you can't work. And I'm just getting myself together, writing more, pulling myself up. This is a thought that I had is like, I'm lucky to be me. Like I like myself. I'm a good person. I'm kind to people. I have ADHD, and I think that there's a lot of positives that can come from that. So trying to be grateful for the things that I do have and realizing that I will come out of that and that I don't need to just drink or do something to find my way out of it. Cause it never, ever, ever really helps. Like even the vape doesn't. Like if you're a person who doesn't struggle, good on you. Because the rest of us struggling. But I do still think you should. You don't take it out though. That's what I do when I go out. Like I'll tell someone I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing great. But then you do try to like hang out because it does suck to just be a wet blanket to just talk about your problems. And I feel like I always have problems, and I really am trying to work through them. You have no idea, and then something will happen. And what I'm trying to do is be better at handling that situation. Like right now. Like here's something that happened, like my tire I had talked about, I popped the shit out of it and I went to get a new one and they kind of fucked me over. And I feel like I told people about it. They're like, man, that sucks when they do that. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not, why should I let them do that? I wouldn't let a friend feel that way. I wouldn't let them. So I was like, take care of yourself like you would a friend. And I called and I complained and they're like, you know what? You are right. And then I got four new tires. So if you're feeling sad, sometimes you gotta stand up for yourself. Sometimes you gotta be ready. And that's the thing is I think that I always feel like life's not gonna happen for a little bit. Like life's gonna take a break. But if it did, that wouldn't be fair for everybody else. And for me to feel happy sometimes that means that other people aren't gonna feel that way. So me feeling like this I do see it as like a good thing. That's what's crazy that's why I'm trying to be more honest about talking about it. Because if I'm honest, maybe that helps someone else. And I think that's how we all help our way out of this. Like, that's what we all do. We start doom scrolling, and even Instagram realized that. And they'd be like, what if we put some positive messages in here that you save in your phone and never go back and listen to? So, and I think I'm at that point where I just like, there's people in my life that I'm not really as close to anymore. Just happens when you move away, or, when life happens, it happens for both parties. Multiple parties, and then people stop having parties. And even though those things happen, I still try to realize that it's not everything has to get fixed, like the thing that has to get fixed is my brain, and I have like a disassociative brain. Like if I'm driving across the country, I'm just in my head, I'm on stage doing backflips with Story of the Year. And even though that helps me get through the sadness, it's so much better to figure out where the sadness is coming from, why we feel like that, and just trying to fucking push. Like it does suck to push, but once you keep pushing your brain and the endorphins that like help you feel good, like it will happen. So I'm saying that to myself. So once this is done, I'm going to keep trying, keep pushing, keep making inexpensive meals that I sit out and leave all fucking night because I'm an idiot. Put laundry in that you forget about and you're like, oh, cool, damp, all stinky laundry. That's what they call me. Stinky laundry boy. And then, this is a good example of like, I'll use myself of like trying to think you're always going to arrive at happiness and thinking it's like a destination instead of like a constant thing to work on. Is I've lived in a place where you could do your laundry in unit right next to my bathroom. I could throw in a load, take a shit for 30 minutes and come out and put it in the dryer because that's how long it usually takes. But I would still let clothes pile up and wouldn't do that because you think you're like, oh, sick, this is the solution to making me happy. And then it didn't, and now I'm at a point where I have to leave my apartment, put on shoes. If it's cold, put on a coat, walk across, make sure no one, pray to God not everyone else is doing their laundry. Put in your laundry, leave your laundry in another building, and then remember to go get it later. And that happened, and now I'm like, I would kill to have in-unit laundry. So you always think you're going to arrive, and you haven't, Bob. So if I can at least speak about what I'm going through and see it, there's always opportunities for moving forward. And you'll see that. I mean, think about, there's people that you see, and it's sad. There's people that you see that you're like, man, it looks like they ran out of options. And you always have an option. I just feel like, I guess I'm tired of selling all my stuff. That's what I did when I lived in St. Louis. I was like, well, I got to move to Austin, and I've just had the worst luck ever with my car. I guess I'm going to have to, and they're rebuilding the engine, I guess I have to sell all my stuff. And I'm like, do you want my guitar amp for way cheaper than anyone could get a guitar amp? And they're like, yes. I'm like, just please come over. Can you drive it here? No, I don't have a car. That's why I'm selling my amplifier. But then life will be beautiful sometimes. And I sold it to a guy who their band had opened for Story of the Year back in the day. So somewhere right now, there's a guy playing an amp that has no idea. I'm going to look him back up on Facebook and find where he lives and steal it back one day. He has no idea. No, I'm not going to do that. But I am going to work on my happiness and realizing that when I'm sad, that's just part of being, a person. Because I would think about that too. I grew up religious, and heaven would scare me. Like I would think about heaven and I'd be like, oh, you're just happy in in one place. And that almost seems like after a while, it's like that obviously it goes up, but then it seems like it plateaus. So trying to remember that in these dark times, there is like light at the end of the tunnel, and maybe even you don't have to stay in the tunnel. You can stop what you're doing. It doesn't have to be the sunk cost fallacy where you're like, I've spent so much time doing this or this. Like sometimes you just gotta call timeout and do a different play. And as a guy who didn't play sports, if I'm using the analogy, you know it's a good analogy. So that's it. That is the podcast. Thank you for sticking with us. Please share with a friend. Please subscribe. Come out and see me. I have shows posted on my website. I love what I do. I'm very lucky. I'd rather be sad right here than pretend happy working at a firehouse that I'd never really wanted to completely work at forever. I wanted to be a firefighter, but I didn't want to stay there. So that, I remember a guy once told me, he's like, sometimes I would just sit on like the front pad of the firehouse and just watch the traffic go by and be like, am I wasting my life? And fortunately, I feel like that sometimes, but not a lot with stand-up. With stand-up, it gives me, when I'm not on stage, I have an opportunity to write something down that I know eventually I'll get to bring on stage. And that's a blessing. And I don't like certain words like that, but it is. So I'm going to keep trying. I'll pull myself out of this, make some money so I can buy glasses that I can actually see out of. Like right now, if you're like, what do you see? And I'm like, it kind of looks like someone scratched my retinas. So that's life. We're all trying our best, and I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. Be proud of me. You know, I'm a good guy. And here we go. Life starts now. 3, 2, 1. Well, it starts after I upload it.